I wanted to do a video on the NFL's most famous controversies. Deflategate, Michael Vick, we all know those. But in my research, I found some stuff that either was intentionally buried or, I don't know, we just don't hear about it anymore. Regardless, these are gonna be some of the best NFL controversies of all time, and hopefully you hear of one that you've never heard of before. We'll start with one that's relatively common, and that's the Bounty Bowl. This is back in 1989. Rivals Philadelphia and Dallas played 2 games. Later, it was discovered that Eagles head coach Buddy Ryan had placed a bounty on Cowboys and former Eagles kicker Luis Zendejas. Concerns first came when Ryan was the defensive coordinator for the Bears, who allegedly pooled money into a bag. And if any of the Bears' defensive players injures a player, he would get the bag. In fact, there were 2 Bounty Bowls. Bounty Bowl number 1 was the 1989 Thanksgiving Classic. On November 23rd, 1989, the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Cowboys 27-0. Following the game, which was broadcast on CBS, Cowboys head coach Jimmy Johnson alleged that Ryan had taken out a bounty on 2 players, the kicker and quarterback Troy Aikman. I have absolutely no respect for the way they played the game. I would have said something to Buddy, but he wouldn't stand on the field long enough. He put his big fat rear into the dressing room. Ryan denied the bounty accusations. I resent that. I've been on a diet. I lost a couple of pounds and I thought I was looking good. Oh boy. When the Cowboys and Eagles met on Thanksgiving 25 years later, Johnson joked that Ryan put up the bounty offer to keep his players interested, since the Cowboys, who ultimately went 1-15, performed so poorly that year. Yeah, the NFL is certainly not like this anymore. Players will switch teams and not care at all. They're just going for the bag. And not the Bounty Bowl bag, but the true bag. In Bounty Bowl 2, which was the following year, by the way, the Cowboys are horrible in both of these. They're 1-12 the second year, they're 1-10 the first year. Eagles fans threw snowballs, ice, and beer onto the field. Several game participants were targeted, including back judge Al Jury and Cowboys punter Mike Saxon. Both were struck by snowballs. Television announcers were also pelted with snowballs. And as a result, the Eagles banned beer sales for their last home game of the year. Look what you did, Bounty Bowl. You kept beer away from NFL fans. Do you realize how much of a crime that is?
Look around you. Look at this. We created this.
Okay, this one's pretty standard. A lot of people know this one. Spygate in 2007. The Patriots going 0-16. This team was still in the midst of a controversy surrounding Belichick. In the early part of the season, the Patriots were caught videotaping the hand signals of a New York Jets coach from a non-fixed roof-covered position. Kind of remind you of the University of Michigan a little bit? No. This is probably the bounty you guys are more familiar with, the 2012 Saints. This is when the New Orleans Saints were discovered to have run a slush fund under former defensive coordinator Greg Williams that paid out bonuses called bounties to purposely injure offensive players that the Saints were playing against. Rumors started in 2009, where the Saints defense was allegedly trying to hurt Vikings quarterback Brett Favre. That is so messed up. By the way, this is totally a side note, but could that ever be criminal? Like, if you purposefully injure somebody, is that not assault? Or is it because you're playing football? You know, like, let's say you're playing football, you tackle someone really hard, you give them a concussion. That's obviously not assault. It was an accident. That's just part of the game. But if you purposefully, like, break someone's leg, could you face actual criminal charges? They got caught in 2011 when filmmaker Sean Pamphilin released audio tapes of Williams telling his players to injure a select group of 49ers, one of them being running back Kendall Hunter, and to knock him out, as well as going after Kyle Williams because of his history of concussions. Williams also told them to injure Vernon Davis's ankle and tear wide receiver Michael Crabtree's ACL. Holy shit! Williams was suspended indefinitely, head coach Sean Payton for the 2012 season, and general manager Mickey Loomis for 8 games. The player suspensions were later thrown out on appeal. That's crazy.
Crazy. I really don't like that guy.
Here's an interesting one. Okay, so we all know about the Washington Redskins. They used to be named the Washington Redskins. They were subject to dispute with some in the Native American community for many years, claiming the term Redskin to be derogatory towards Native Americans. I don't have an opinion on that. I'm not Native American, so. But regardless, they went ahead and changed their name to the Washington Commanders. Cool. That begs the question, though, will the Kansas City Chiefs always be the Kansas City Chiefs? There have been calls from the National Congress of American Indians and the Kansas City Indian Center for the Kansas City Chiefs to change their mascot. So maybe they changed their mascot mascot, but they continue to be the Chiefs? Will it always be Arrowhead Stadium? You know? That's crazy because like Chiefs dynasty is very real. They're a very real dynasty right now. So, because you know, like when it was Washington, it's like, who cares? Like the Redskins suck ass. You might as well rebrand.
Pathetic.
This one is probably my favorite. This is the one that I saw and I was like, okay, I literally have to do a video on this. The Minnesota Vikings boat party scandal. On Lake Minnetonka in 05, 17 Minnesota Vikings players. Dante Culpepper, Bryant McKinney, Nate Burleson, Troy Williamson, Kevin Williams. Sorry, I was just naming names I saw, but there's 17 Vikings players were accused of throwing a sex party on a boat, with most of the players partaking in sexual intercourse. I don't know how you get accused of throwing a sex party on a boat. I feel like you either threw a sex party on a boat or you didn't. Where is the fine line there? I'm not really understanding that, but they were accused, I guess. Fred Smoot was allegedly the ringleader of the party. On Fred Smoot's Wikipedia page, you've got, you know, where he played in college, Mississippi State, you guys, early years, his college career. You've got him on the Redskins and the Vikings, and then you've got this big old chunk about the Love Boat scandal. I had never heard this story, so I thought it was hilarious. Fred Smoot was the ringleader and allegedly pushed a double-headed dildo. Whoa! I'm not reading all of that.
Super freak! Super freak!
Later on October 19th, 05, Vikings owner Ziggy Wilf, in a reportedly profanity-laced tirade, threatened to remove the players from the roster who were involved in the planning of the party. Eventually, Culpepper, McKinney, Smoot, and Mo Williams were charged with indecent, disorderly, and lascivious content. What did that do, though? Oh my God, wait, this is probably the best part. Moore admitted being on the boat, but he claimed that nothing happened. He asked if he saw strippers or sex on his boat. Moore quickly replied, "Sex? What are you talking about? Is that what..." Man, that's crazy. Look, man, I'm engaged, so none of that. Think about that. That would put me in trouble. Who are you fooling? You're telling me you were playing bingo and Scrabble on the top deck and there was just casually a gigantic orgy on the bottom deck and you didn't even notice? Okay, so basically these guys were doing this like in public. Like they weren't in the middle of the lake anchored and someone just happened to drive by. Like they were like, it was visible enough that they had the police called on them. So that's just so stupid. It's not even funny. We all know the Michael Vick one. In 06, Atlanta Falcons quarterback Michael Vick was involved in a dogfighting ring in over 70 dogs, with most of them being pit bull terriers. Some showed signs of injuries. There was physical evidence. This is just crazy to me. Vick was given 23 months in federal prison, followed by 3 years of probation. The Atlanta Falcons, of course, then released him, and then as soon as he gets out of prison, he signs with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was still damn good. What I don't understand about this, by the way, like this whole Michael Vick dogfighting thing, is why? Now, I could understand, and by the way, it's never okay. It's obviously horrible. But I could understand if, like, it was lucrative or something, kind of like a drug dealer. I get why people deal drugs. They make a lot of money. They're absolute morons. I'd never personally do it, but I get it. The thing with Michael Vick, though, he's already a star NFL quarterback. What reason are you doing this? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I could see like a really broke, desperate person doing this, but I don't understand why a successful human would do it. I don't know. It's like when rappers are still dealing drugs. Like, dog, you're making a lot of money already. There's no point to be committing a felony. Like, you're just asking for it at this point. Domestic violence? Are you kidding me? Oh my God, I was about to say there could be a whole literary article on this. 85 of the 713 arrests of NFL players since 2000 were due to domestic violence. That is a very large percentage. Sexual assault lawsuits. Amongst the many, the biggest ones are Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Deshaun Watson. I don't want to go too deep into these. Like, Love Boat scandal? Like, I would love to talk about that. This obviously happened. It happened. Like, these guys were just having a giant sex party on a boat and people saw them. I don't want to go into these though. I really don't. Like, same with Michael Vick. Like, this happened. I don't want to talk about Manning, Roethlisberger, Watson. I feel uncomfortable. I don't really know the truth on these. Oh my God, and there's so many in here that I can't even talk about on YouTube too much, but like notable criminal NFL cases. Talking about Aaron Hernandez, Henry Ruggs, O.J. Simpson. All right, let's get back to controversy. I don't want this to get all crazy negative because some of these are still so funny. Yeah, let's talk about Deflategate. This one needs to be covered. The Deflategate scandal involved the allegation, allegedly, that the New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady ordered the deliberate deflation of footballs that were used in the Patriots' victory against the Indianapolis Colts during the 2014 AFC Championship game. The controversy resulted in Brady being suspended for 4 games while the team was fined $1 million and forfeited 2 draft selections in 2016. It's actually a pretty hefty penalty. So the official rules of the NFL require footballs to be inflated to a gauge pressure of between 12.5 and 13.5 pounds per square inch. Sure, bunch of nerd shit, but you get it. They're supposed to be an exact amount. The rules do not specify the temperature at which such measurement is to be made. There is a positive correlation between the temperature and pressure of a gas with a fixed volume and mass. Thus, if a football were inflated to the minimum pressure of 12.5, the pressure would drop below the minimum. Wait, this is actually really interesting. If a football were inflated to the minimum pressure of 12.5 psi at room temperature, the pressure would drop below the minimum as the gases inside cooled to a lower ambient temperature on the playing field. Interesting. In 2006, normal NFL operating procedure was for the home team to provide all of the game's footballs. The question really is, why the hell would you deflate a football? Well, moving air from a football makes it easier to grip, throw, and catch. During the first half of the AFC Championship game, Patriots quarterback Tom Brady threw an interception to Colts linebacker. After the play was over, Jackson handed the ball to the Colts equipment manager for safekeeping as a souvenir. Early reports suggested that Jackson was the first to suspect the ball was deflated, but Jackson said he did not notice anything wrong with the ball that he caught. At halftime, NFL officials inspected the footballs. Former NFL referee incorrectly stated that 11 of the 12 balls were measured to be 2 pounds below the minimum amount. Why is there no good information on this? All this is just conflicting thoughts.
One eternity later.
All right, I just went on a 30-minute deep dive on Deflategate. If you're super interested in Deflategate, there is a 243-page investigation known as the Wells Report. This shit was so serious, they are calling in MIT physicists to do these absolutely massive diagnoses of the pressure of the ball. This is a plot and statistics of mean and standard deviation from measured Patriots footballs from two separate professors. The Wells Report considers the lower of the two plotted lines to be accurate, being this blue line. So on average, they're supposed to be 12.5 to 13.5. And both of these graphs, even the highest of the red, doesn't hit 12.5. So from this graph and this graph alone, you would say this is what it should be. Now here's your comparison. Here are the Colts balls measured by the same professors, right? So you've got the lowest measurement being a 12.2, the highest being a 13. So if you're making the argument that over time the pressure does decrease significantly, you might expect to see numbers like this, whereas you've got a Patriot ball measuring in at 10.5. I mean, the real argument is you lost 45-7, so you ain't getting that fucking win back, buddy.
But before I go, I just want to get this off my chest. Y'all are trash.
Tom Brady initially referred to the accusations as completely ridiculous. In a long interview in January, he then denied any wrongdoing. He said he has no knowledge of anything. Bold statement. Even after the Patriots won the Super Bowl, beat the Seahawks 28-24, controversy kind of bubbled away. Then on May 7th, the NFL published the Wells Report, a 243-page report. They found it more probable than not that the Patriots equipment personnel were deliberately breaking the rules. The report also found that Brady was probably aware of the deflated balls. They did a 243-page report, and their conclusiveness was more probable than not and probably aware. They don't know shit. I think I agree with the Wells Report. They probably were deflating those footballs. Tom Brady probably knew, but wow. The punishment was big too. So Brady was handed a 4-game suspension, which is a quarter of the season. 2 Patriots employees were indefinitely suspended without pay by the club. The organization was fined $1 million. They also lost their first-round draft picks for next year and a 4th-round pick. I think taking the first round and the 4th round is pretty big. That's a big blow to a team. Regardless, that's Deflategate. I didn't expect to go that deep myself. Gosh, we could do a whole thing on Dan Snyder. By the way, Dan Snyder was the owner of the Washington Redskins. It found that incidents of sexual harassment, bullying, and intimidation were commonplace throughout the organization under his ownership. For these 3 words to be alongside commonplace is so crazy. The NFL fined the team $10 million in response, with Dan Snyder also voluntarily stepping down, which I think this is a hilarious twist of irony. He just gives the responsibilities to his wife, but he gets accused of the most toxic workplace culture. He also runs the team that's called the Washington Redskins, and he steps down and gives it to his wife.
That's a W.
The district attorney general said that Snyder gave misleading answers when he testified testified. It also accused Snyder of paying hush money so that people wouldn't come forward with their allegations of abuse, which included sexual misconduct, exploitation of women, bullying of men. All right, at least there's some equality in here. He was bullying men and other inappropriate behavior. Black, white, or purple, you can catch these hands from Dan Snyder, apparently. I think the saddest part here is I don't think anything happened to Dan Snyder. Obviously, his literal image was ruined. He was fined $10 million and he had to hand the company off to his wife, which probably really sucked for him. Oh, you know he's bitching at his wife every day just about how poorly she's running things. I guess his real punishment was owning the Washington Redskins.
Well, let's be nice. Let's be nice.
All right, that's enough yapping for today. There's been a lot of controversies in the NFL, but these were the ones that I found the most interesting. If there's any big ones I missed, just let me know. I'd love to go over them again if you guys enjoyed this video. And I love you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.